I actually never thought that I would leave the business world. I grew up in a family that was totally business-oriented. That's what my original training was in. And it was going to take a very powerful idea to get me to move away from that comfortable position in our family business. But that powerful idea hit me like a truck. And it was the idea of a church, a biblically functioning community, where people would love each other radically, where the rich would care for the poor, where lonely people would get enfolded into fellowship, and where people would find a purpose for their life that would extend beyond just the material world. And I gathered some friends around me, and we started a little church in a rented movie theater. And we made a lot of mistakes, but God worked. And He worked so strongly and so pervasively in people's lives that the church just started to grow from one level to the next and the next. After 6.5 years in that little movie theater, God provided this land for our church. It was an amazing miracle in our eyes. And then we started to build buildings, and we started to understand that God wanted to not just bring hundreds of people back into relationship with Himself, but thousands of people. And we got a front row seat to watch the activity of God as the church kept expanding. And soon Christian leaders from around the country and around the world wanted to come and just watch what God was doing and get into conversation about leadership, about creativity, about how organizations can be built to sustain the activity of God over a long period of time. And one of the great joys of my life the last 20 years has been to be in conversation with Christian leaders from around the world about church and how church can be done differently and better and riskier and maybe with a greater effect. A few years ago, God gave us the idea of taking the summit global. And we had no idea how hungry people were all around the world to learn about leadership, to learn about how the church can be the church in this very troubled time in history. Right now, all around the world, 134 cities around the world, people like you are sitting in a venue, ready to dig in and learn how to be better leaders. And I commend you for this investment of your time. The Bible says in Romans 12, verse 8, that leaders should lead with all diligence. The idea is a rather simple one, actually. It just means leaders should get better, or leaders should try to do their absolute best for God and for the sake of those people that they lead. And I believe to the core of my being that every leader can get better. And with reading and with studying and with conversing with other leaders and attending events like the Leadership Summit, you can grow your leadership edge. You can get better at what you're doing. And I think that's going to happen when you're at the Global Summit. So I commend you for making the investment, for being here, and I think God's going to really bless your life for it.